Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're going to be taking a look at some really interesting developments in AI this week, from new chips and algorithms to some pretty out there applications. So if you enjoy these deep dives and you want to support our work, please consider subscribing to Le Podcast de Philippe on YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers today.
Sounds good to me. Let's get into it.
All right, so first up, Nvidia had some pretty significant announcements at GTC 2025. Starting with the Blackwell Ultra chip, which is expected in the second half of 2025.
Yeah, this one's interesting because it's not really about raw processing power. It's more about memory. So they're keeping the 20 petaflops of AI performance from the original Blackwell, but boosting the memory capacity up to 288 gigabytes.
Wow. So this is kind of like giving a really smart person an even bigger notebook to work with, right?
Exactly. It can handle a lot more information at the same time, so you can tackle more complex tasks.
And what about the Vera Ruben chip? That one seems like it's a pretty big leap forward.
It's projected to be 3.3 times more powerful than its predecessor, and it also introduces a custom Nvidia CPU called Vera. And when those two are working together during inference, that's when the AI is actually putting what it's learned to use. They're expecting to reach up to 50 petaflops of performance.
Wow. So more than double what they're capable of now.
That's right. And that Vera CPU is also no slouch. It's supposedly twice as fast as the processing unit in the Grace Blackwell GPU.
So they're improving on multiple fronts there.
Yeah. And they also talked about how a rack system with Vera Ruben chips, the NVL144, could reach 3.6 exaflops of FP4 inference.
And remind me again, what's FP4 inference?
It's basically a way of running AI calculations more efficiently by using lower precision. So it's a bit like sacrificing a tiny bit of accuracy for a huge gain in speed. And in that particular setup with the NVL144, it's supposed to be 3.3 times faster than a similar setup with the Blackwell Ultra.
So not only are they making the chips themselves more powerful, they're also finding ways to use them more efficiently.
Exactly, and their roadmap for the future looks pretty ambitious, too. They're planning to release the Reuben Ultra in the second half of 2027, which will use multiple Vera Ruben GPUs. And at the same time, they're working on Reuben Next, which is supposed to be twice as fast as Reuben, by combining 4 GPU dies into one package.
It seems like they're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI hardware.
Yeah, and they even hinted at a future architecture called Fineman for 2028, so they've got a pretty clear vision for the future.
All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some new software developments, specifically the new AI models coming out of China. Baidu recently launched Ernie X1 and also upgraded their existing Ernie model.
Yeah, they made those announcements on March 16th. The updated Ernie 4.5 now has much better multimodal capabilities, so it can understand information from text, images, audio, and video a lot more smoothly.
So it can basically process information from all kinds of sources and make sense of it.
Right. And they've also made some big improvements to its understanding generation reasoning and even its ability to understand things like memes and satire. They're calling it high EQ.
So it can pick up on those subtle cues that are often lost on AI.
Exactly. And they're saying it outperforms GPT 4.5 on some benchmarks, and they're also offering it at a really competitive price per token.
And Ernie X1 is kind of their flagship model for reasoning, right?
Yeah. That's right. It's their first model that's specifically designed for advanced reasoning, which means it should be much better at handling complex conversations and solving problems. It can also use different tools autonomously to complete tasks without needing constant human input. And like Ernie 4.5, it's also got multimodal processing capabilities.
So it sounds like they're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI in terms of both understanding and problem solving.
Yeah, and the best part is that it's not just some theoretical research project. Ernie 4.5 is already available for free to individual users through the ErnieBot platform, and they also have an API for enterprise clients, and the API access for Ernie X1 will be available for businesses soon.
That's great. So people can actually start using these models and seeing what they can do.
Exactly. And they've also said that they're planning to open source both Ernie models by the end of June this year, which is a huge step towards making AI more accessible and fostering collaboration.
That's fantastic. It really shows their commitment to pushing the field forward. So it seems like China is really making some big moves in the AI space. But of course, they're not the only ones. Alibaba also recently upgraded their AI assistant, Quark.
Yep, that happened on March 13th. And the big news here is that they're now using their own advanced reasoning model, which is based on their Quinn Foundation models. And this is actually the first time that one of Alibaba's core user-facing applications is fully using their own foundation models.
So what can this new and improved Quark actually do?
Yeah. Well, it's got a much more sophisticated AI chatbot, improved deep thinking and research capabilities. And it can also execute tasks directly, all within a really polished user interface. So, for example, it can help you with academic research, draft different kinds of documents, generate images and presentations, and it can even offer support in areas like medical diagnostics, travel planning, and answering complex questions right within your search results.
That's quite a range of capabilities.
Yeah, and they've also added a new deep thinking mode, which is designed to give more detailed and nuanced answers to really complex problems.
So it's not just about giving you quick answers, it's about helping you understand the problem and come up with a solution.
Exactly. And Alibaba is really aiming high with Quark. They want to make it the go-to AI super assistant for over 200 million users in China.
Wow, that's a pretty ambitious goal.
It is, and it's all part of their massive investment plan. They're putting 380 billion yuan into AI and cloud computing over the next 3 years, so they're clearly serious about this.
It sounds like there's a lot of exciting development happening in the AI assistant space, but let's move on to something a little different. Microsoft is partnering with a Swiss company called Innate to develop AI that can reason like a mammal brain.
Yeah, that's a really interesting partnership. Innate has been working for about 20 years on a digital brain platform and a brain programming language that can replicate some of the core processes of the brain. And the idea is to move beyond AI that just finds correlations in data and actually build systems that can learn from real-world experiences and understand cause and effect.
So basically AI that can reason like we do.
Exactly. And they're thinking about some pretty sophisticated applications for this, like really advanced trading algorithms and risk management tools for finance and even more intelligent robots for manufacturing.
It could have a big impact on a lot of different industries.
Absolutely. And Microsoft is providing the infrastructure for all of this through their Azure cloud platform.
So they're really putting their weight behind this project.
Yeah, it seems like they see a lot of potential in this approach to AI.
And last but not least, there's a pretty wild story coming out of Italy. The newspaper Il Foglio published an entire edition that was generated by AI.
Yeah, that's right. It's called Il Foglio AI, and it came out on Tuesday, March 18th. It's a 4-page broadsheet available both in print and online, and it's going to be running as a month-long experiment.
So a whole newspaper written by AI. What kind of articles did it have?
Well, it had a front-page piece about Donald Trump and his supporters in Italy, a column about Vladimir Putin's betrayals, a piece exploring the idea of situationships among young Europeans, and even some letters to the editor that were all generated by AI.
So a pretty wide range of topics.
Yeah, and according to Il Foglio's editor, the AI did pretty much everything, writing the articles, creating the headlines, coming up with quotes, writing summaries, and even trying to be ironic. The human journalists were mainly there to come up with the initial questions that guided the AI and to review the text afterward.
Wow, so the AI was really running the show.
Pretty much. And it's worth noting that there weren't any direct quotes from actual people in the articles.
So a whole newspaper with no human voices. That's a pretty thought-provoking concept.
It is, and it raises some big questions about the future of journalism.
Well, this has been a really fascinating look at some of the latest developments in AI, and it seems like things are moving incredibly fast on every front, from the hardware to the software, and even into areas like journalism that we traditionally think of as being very human-centric.
It's true, and it really seems like we're just at the beginning of this AI revolution. There's so much potential for AI to change the world in both positive and negative ways, and it's up to us to figure out how to navigate this new landscape.
So what do you think is the most important takeaway for our listeners today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is no longer just a futuristic concept. It's here, and it's already having a profound impact on our lives, and it's only going to become more pervasive in the years to come. And as AI systems become more capable and more autonomous, we need to start thinking about the implications for our society, for our jobs, and for our future as a species. So I think the big question for all of us is, how do we want to shape this future with AI, and what kind of world do we want to create with this powerful new technology?
That's a really important question, and one that we all need to be thinking about. Thank you for joining us for another deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.